Hi, I'm Terry Levitt with the Conway Daily Sun, and I'm here with Donna Borges of Rosewood Landing in Madison, and we're here to talk about weddings. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you.
So you own Rosewood Landing, and that's a wedding venue and inn in Silver Lake?
Yes, we
Good.
bought it in 2015 and developed it, and we've been running it for 9 years.
9 years. Tell me a little bit about the inn.
It is an old Victorian inn that was built in 1875, and it is on Silver Lake. And we have a pavilion that we have outdoor weddings, and we do some of the weddings and events indoors in the main room that we call the Great Room.
Well, it sounds like a special place. Is an old Victorian home originally, and then an inn?
Yes, it was originally built to be a guest house when the railroad was running. And the same family, the Knowles family, owned it since the land grants in New Hampshire. We're actually the first owners out of the Knowles family that have the inn. And it's just a beautiful old building, still has all its old character in it. There's 5 guest rooms and our area and 3 main rooms, 3 other main large rooms, 2 dining rooms.
And your main focus with the inn these days is providing a venue for weddings?
Yes, weddings and events. We do weddings for up to 60 people. We can do them either out on the pavilion. Those go from May till October when it's warm out. And then we do the indoor weddings, which we can fit 35 people from November and through the winter, through May.
And how many, you house these people? They stay at the inn?
We can fit 12 people in the 5 bedrooms at the inn, 12 or 14. And the other, if out-of-town guests come from other places, there's Airbnbs or there's a lot of hotels here in the area that they can stay at.
Okay. So obviously the Victorian atmosphere makes the inn special, but also the fact that you're right on the lake. And so you can, I've seen pictures where, you know, the lake is in the background, beautiful setting for your outdoor weddings and for your pavilion. And I think we talked earlier about you even sometimes have people come to the wedding by boat.
They do. We've had the grooms come across the lake in the boat, or have had the bride and the bridesmaids float across and, you know, come up the hill to their ceremony area, which we have out in the yard, and it overlooks the lake. It's just, it's stunning.
Well, it sounds magical. And how did you get into this business?
It was something that my husband and I had been interested in doing, and we own a large auto body in southern New Hampshire. And after working there for 24 years with my husband, I finally decided to pull the trigger and look for a property. So we started looking around, and we found this one. It actually went on the market, and we saw it, and we both just absolutely fell in love with it. And we purchased it, and we developed it. It needed some renovation. We put the pavilion in. There was actually a patio there, and we put the covered pavilion over it, and started advertising, and there we go. The Conway Sun was one of the first places that we put a big ad in to do the weddings.
Well, I imagine business has been good.
It has been, absolutely.
That's fantastic. In addition to providing this space and room for some guests, what other services do you provide? Is this a full-service wedding venue, catering,
Absolutely.
flowers?
We do. We can be your wedding coordinator. We have a space for the ceremony. We provide tables and chairs and linen and all the little extras. We have some centerpieces and that you can use if you didn't want to get your own. And we have in-house catering that we do. We have it's called Silver Plate Catering, and she is a degreed chef. And we have some standard menus that you can pick from, or we will curate you any kind of meal or wedding program that you're interested in. We can recommend places for flowers, wedding cakes. I've made some wedding cakes in the past, but we prefer to use a local vendor for it.
Do you have a large list of local vendors for different services?
We do.
Do you provide music, or is that a local vendor you would look to help?
We have a stereo system, a speaker system that they can use. Most brides or wedding couples come with their own playlist. Some of them use DJs, which we have a list of DJs that they can use, and same thing with florists and anything else that they would, limousine companies.
Limousine companies. Well, limousine companies, that makes me think of destination weddings. I assume
Correct.
Destination weddings are still big, and this is a great area for that.
That's where most of our bridal couples come from. They're not from the area. We get a lot from Connecticut, New York, some from California. And so most of them, instead of just a day of a wedding, it becomes a weekend. They come in on Thursday night, they have a welcome dinner on Friday, or a rehearsal dinner, then their ceremony and the wedding and reception on Saturday, and then they'll have a farewell breakfast on Sunday for all the guests. Most of them stay, like I said, in all the local hotels.
Mm-hmm. And are there any things in particular you would highlight as making the Mount Washington Valley a good place for a destination wedding? Is there something particularly that when people come here for their destination wedding they are looking for?
I mean, it's so beautiful around here. It's absolutely gorgeous, winter, summer, fall. There's a lot of hiking. We're right near the Kangamangas Highway, so there's a ton of hiking over there. There's ski areas in the winter. There's the train up in, here in Conway, and all the nice shopping. The outlets are always fun to send people to.
And all of those things are different things that people have taken advantage of when they've come to your particular place for a wedding.
Yes, there's golfing. There's golf courses around, which that's a lot of the groomsmen will have a day of golfing the day before or the morning of, when they're having, afternoon or evening weddings. And there's people will go to the spas, the couples, to get their nails and their hair and massages done.
And do they look to you for advice on where to find such things?
Yes.
That's part of the service you provide?
Absolutely.
Okay. In terms of the all-season nature of visiting the valley, you do winter weddings as well.
We do.
Most of your business is in the warmer weather, I imagine.
Most of the outside weddings are, yes, and because it's the fall, the autumn is always big. From the probably Labor Day through the end of October, usually we end up doing a Halloween wedding at the end of the month, which those are always fun. But we do smaller weddings in the winter. Some of the couples choose to get married outside. We have the pavilion, there's a fireplace in it, and they get married down under the pavilion, or they can have the ceremony inside the house. We have a beautiful parlor that we can fit the 35 seated guests in to do the weddings.
As a smaller wedding venue, I think we were talking earlier about trends in weddings these days. A few years ago, we were seeing, well, first very small weddings with COVID, and then big weddings,
Huge
almost
weddings.
as part of a celebration of just being together again. Would you say that's kind of leveled out now?
Yes, I think the trend now is a smaller wedding, you know, under 125 people, a lot of them under 100, but a lot more high-end instead of what we would call quality over quantity. The brides are choosing just beautiful decor, lots and lots of flowers. They have more chamber music, you know, having 4 people come in, classical musicians, and just the whole thing way more high-end food, that they have multiple courses.
And so your venue is right in line with that kind of wedding these days.
That's where we tried to position ourselves right from the beginning. I like elegance. It's a beautiful old inn. We have gorgeous dishes and linens and lovely decorations. So we've always tended more toward elegance than casual.
Very nice. Last summer, I think you did a wedding show or a bridal show.
We did.
And can you tell me what that was exactly?
We had 15 vendors that will cater to smaller venues. We had florists and bakers, musicians, and a wedding gown, you know, a company that did bridal fashions. And I wanted to try to highlight small venues, and we had 3 other local venues that do small weddings. And because I think we're a neglected niche in the in doing weddings and events. Most places, there's a lot of large venues around here that can handle up to 300 people, and not everybody wants to have a huge wedding or a family reunion or an anniversary party. They don't want 150 people. They want something smaller, and we can do 60 people. And I wanted to try to highlight that because, like, as I said, I think we're a neglected niche in the market.
Okay. Are there other trends you're seeing in weddings besides the move towards smaller elegance?
As far as the couples getting married, the fashion has changed. They're doing more, the brides do colored wedding gowns, and we've had a few that wear black. We had an olive green, and no headpieces. You know, most people don't have anything in their hair, and the men wear more casual clothes, not jeans, but, you know, instead of a tuxedo, that used to be the big thing, you know, the tuxedo and the woman in this big white gown, and not anymore. The men seem to do much more casual attire.
Well, I did see some pictures you shared with me, and I did notice that a man in casual attire and flip-flops.
Yes. Yes, they wore Crocs to that wedding. I know which one you're talking about.
It was
Different.
fun. I think a wedding should be fun, don't you?
Absolutely, and it should be whatever you want. There aren't any rules.
Yeah.
You do what you want, and where we're a smaller venue, I think there's less of that pressure to have, you know, the typical black tuxedo and the white dress.
Going back to your wedding show, you mentioned there were people who provide gowns and attire, generally. Those are local vendors.
Yes.
everyone there was a local vendor? You didn't bring in anybody from outside the
No,
area?
no, we were all local.
And would you say that you can come here to the Valley and find everything you need for any kind of level of fancy or elegant wedding, like from simple to the most elegant?
Absolutely. Some of the vendors that we use are just fabulous. The bakers, I don't know if we're allowed.
Yes, go ahead.
Batter up. She makes incredible cakes. We recommend Delectables by Danette.
Okay.
She makes gorgeous, really tasty cakes. The bartending services, there's Furman Bartending. She's our preferred vendor, but there's Bellin Bartending. She does same thing. They're wonderful, and they're local, and they're kind, and I'm trying to think, photographers. We use Joe Martin Photography. He's one of our recommended vendors. And Through the Pines, Ashley Rand, same thing, local woman, grew up here.
And if you were interested in having a wedding and you came to your wedding show, you would have a chance to meet these people or similar people at the show. That was the point of the show.
Yes, absolutely. So you could see what we have to offer in the area for a smaller venue. Some photographers or bakers, caterers. We have outside catering. They won't do small weddings. They won't do it. And so we have a core group of vendors that will happily do a wedding or an event at a smaller venue.
And when did you hold this? In middle of the summer? Or?
No, it was February. February last year.
Oh. So will you be having another one of these shows?
I will again. I'm not doing it this year, but we'll be doing it next year.
Okay. And did you have a lot of brides or grooms or
We did.
families come?
We did. Unfortunately, we had a rather large snowstorm the day before, so that cut down on attendance a bit. But there was, yes, quite a bit, and I know most every vendor at the show booked with one of the brides, not us. We had the other two vendors, the small wedding venue vendors that were there. We all booked a wedding or an event, and just about everyone booked from the show.
Well, that makes it
That
worthwhile.
was the purpose of it, So it
Sure.
And we all got exposure, which was nice.
Sure. Well, let me ask you, say, for couples getting married, when should they start planning? How much lead time, do you need today if you're going to book venues and caterers and all those services that come with a wedding?
I would say 8 months to a year.
8 months to a year.
The caterers for sure.
Okay.
The photographers also. Bakers can handle more, so you don't need to be as tight with that. But if you wanted one of the one of the wedding dates, like on Memorial Day or Columbus weekend, those generally with us they book a year in advance. The holiday weddings book a year in advance.
And for some, this might seem a very overwhelming process. Where do you start?
I would say you start with picking your date or your season first. Getting engaged, that's important.
I'm going to assume that has happened.
And then you need to pick your date, the time of year that you want to do it, and then start looking for venues, and then pick your vision. That's one of the first things I ask the couple when they come. What do you see for your wedding? How do you envision this? And how can we make this come true for you? Because we'll coordinate it from start to finish. You know, we'll help them get vendors. They tell me, I want these kind of colors. We'll make sure we have matching linen for it. And
So, engagement, season, vision, and then venue, and a wedding planner to help you with all this, which is a service you provide.
We do. We
you'll
will
take care of.
coordinate. Some of the brides, some of the couples they'll have a wedding planner, which is nice because they keep them, you know,
Focus.
they tell them, yes, you have to do this at this date. And, you know, sometimes if they don't have a wedding planner, I'll do that for them. I'll keep sending them gentle reminders, you know, have you picked your florist, and, you know, have you ordered your gown? Important things, you know, things that they'll need. Eventually they need to pick their menu, they need to figure out their timing, get their DJ or their music. And I have a printed list for them that I include that gives them the timeline of when they have to start getting everything done, so that I want their day to be completely flawless. I want them to show up and enjoy their wedding. Or same thing if we're doing an anniversary party or something. I don't want them to ever have to think about anything but enjoying their day. And the same thing with the guests. They want everything just needs to be done for them, so it's the perfect memory for them.
Sounds great. Any other events that you particularly do? I've heard anniversaries, but other
Anniversaries. We do quite a few family reunions.
Okay.
Where we're right on Silver Lake. There's most of the houses were built back, you know, in the end of the 1800s, and the same families still own a lot of them. So when they have reunions to come back, they're in, you know, 4th or 5th generation at this point. So instead of having 6 of them, there's like 60 or 70 of them now. And usually every other year or so, they'll have a family reunion. And those are a lot of fun. You know, it's just so nice. You see all the different generations of people, and the yard, our yard there is large, and the pavilion's big, and they come over from their homes on the lake by their boat, and they all get to see each other, and it's a nice, they can spend the entire day there.
That sounds lovely too. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Is there anything else you think we should have mentioned, or?
No, I think you covered it well. I mean, it's a beautiful venue, and there's a lot to do in the valley. There's a lot of vendors available. There's a lot of things to do around here, and I think my venue is a lovely place to be for a destination wedding, or if you're having a graduation party or family reunion.
Oh, great. Well, thank you very much for coming in. It's been lovely having you here.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it.